Rob and Slim Show.
Hello, how you doing? This is Clyde P. Riddlesbrood calling.
Great. How you doing, Clyde?
Very good, sir. Very good. I just wanted to get a hold of you guys, and I don't know if I'm on air now, so I'm talking in my dramatic voice.
Yeah, we had just come back.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, it's a pleasure to be on there, and let me know what you want me to, what you want to chat about.
Well, did you have any questions, Slim? This is Rob.
I'm Slim, and our buddy Pete's with us today. You're the theater guy, right?
Yeah. So I didn't know if you had any special, spin or theme or something that you're trying to, pitch, so I can kind of spin my thing a little bit different ways depending on what you need.
Well, what do you do first, Clyde?
Well, we're a theater company, and we do shows all over the tri-state area and sometimes beyond. Other than that, we have some special shows that we have coming up. I'd like to push, if I can, which is Frankenstein, which is just outside of Lakewood, New Jersey, at the Strand Theater. But there's other things that I can chat about too, like how we got started.
Anything, man. We're going kind of for like a hangout radio thing, so whatever you want to tell us about.
How they got started would be pretty interesting. Actually,
I would like to hear that.
You guys have more of like an entrepreneur kind of spin to your show, where people are trying to, learn how to start business or something, or is there another kind of format? Maybe
we just talk about anything. It's like a hangout.
Oh, okay. So nothing like sports. Genetic engineering, everything is game.
Here and there,
yeah. We talked to a guy earlier, this guy named Ed Roman. He's a singer from Canada, and he was really cool, and he talked to us about food, politics, just, anything.
But most of your guests are like entertainers?
Well...
But not necessarily?
Yeah, especially Sarantos. He stunk. He's... But, usually most of you had musical guests on so far.
So we had, like, therapists, just all kinds of people. Yeah, we had a sex psychologist on last week, Samantha Rodman. We just asked her dirty questions the whole time, but had fun with it. So how did you get started? How did you get into, like, the dinner theater thing?
Sure. Actually, one more question. Are you guys, is it live, or are you just guys edit it later?
We are both. We are live on Ustream right now, and we also, then we upload it to YouTube and, what else? SoundCloud?
SoundCloud, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, terrific. Well, sure. Well, let me know. Do you want me to just chat a little bit about me and how we got started, or you got something more you want to start me off with?
Well, that'd be a great start.
All right. Well, a little bit about me. Again, my name is Clyde P. Riddlesbrood. It's kind of like my nom de plume. We started our theater company back in 2000. And, we've been going strong ever since. It was a lot of uphill battle. If anybody's out there that's been involved in the arts, it's not an easy industry, to try to make a living in,
Yeah, it's...
That being said, if you keep at it and you keep pushing, you can make it. Like I said, we started in 2000, and we've been, at a lot of different places all around the state. We got our start around the Atlantic City market, and we were working at a place down there full time for several years. And we also do a tour. We do a lot of murder mystery shows, a lot of dinner theater style shows, and we tour them all over New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York, Delaware, Maryland, and every once in a while we'll get something even a little further away, like South Carolina and stuff.
That's cool. I saw you said you have tips on actors getting more work in the industry. I just had a friend from Minnesota who moved to New York City, and I was really interested in hearing your take on that, because he, like I said, he was in Minnesota, he was doing theater and stuff, and now he moved to New York City, and I know he's struggling getting some work right now.
Well, the first thing I'd say is, there's a big difference between, people that work in New York and people that work in the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So, the New York theater scene is kind of like its own little microcosm in and of itself. So it doesn't quite function the same way that, if you were just trying to maybe be an actor living in New Jersey or be an actor living in Delaware or something. So there is quite a difference. So any tips for New York is a very different thing than a tip for somebody living in California, even, you know. So,
wow.
New York is really its own little tiny, very tiny little world. And mostly what I found with that world is really, it's all who you know, and it really has to do more with what, you know, classes you can afford to take, and then who you meet in those classes, and you know, if the instructor likes you, they might be able to get you in different things.
Wow.
That's not really the way, though. It works in the inner theater world, or murder mystery world, or even community theater world, or regional theater world. So a lot of the work that I do is not really, you know, obviously in New York. Most of it is at some large regional theaters in the area, a lot of mega facilities, a lot of restaurants, and murder mystery shows. They tour all around. So for people that are really interested in getting into acting, if that's what you're asking, you know, somebody that maybe gets the acting bug and wants to get out there and, you know, do some shows, I probably could give you more tips for somebody like that.
Okay.
My little sister is she's a dancer. That's what she does.
Yeah.
But she wants to get into she wants to get into more. I mean, I guess she's more, like I said, more of a dancer, but she's also taken drama.
Yeah.
So I would guess she would want to try to get into plays as maybe like, you know, so how some musicals they have dancers as well as as actors.
Well, you know, most of the auditions that we have, you know, I mean, you know, there's always a lot of the females are always dancers. That's pretty much. I mean, you know, that there's a lot of them. So you know, in the world of commodity, you know, that's usually a very easy one to find is a girl that can dance. The singing ability is less so. You know, not everybody can sing really well.
Yeah.
So people that can sing really well are a little harder to find, and so since shows often have a lot of music, that sometimes can be more valuable. So, you know, in theater is kind of interesting in that it really is a meritocracy because, you know, you can't hide that your talent, and you can't pretend to have it either. So, you know, like so who you know is important to get the opportunity. But once you get in the door, if you can't sing, you can't sing. You know? And if you can't dance, you can't dance. And it's really easy to see who's better. So, so in a show and in an audition, you know, it's usually pretty easy to see the hierarchy of talent pretty quickly. But you know, if they're looking to do more than just dancing, the most important thing is to work at a lot of different theaters. You know, go to a lot of auditions in your area. Work for a lot of different theater companies because you're going to learn a lot, but you're also going to meet a lot of people. And directors are lazy. I can tell you as a director, directors are lazy. If we get a show, we tend to think about people we've used in the past that we think of that would be good.
Is that why Michael Bay puts Megan Fox and everything?
I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, when you're really busy, and you got a new show coming up, I mean, you do an audition, but you might already have in mind, you know, some people that you've worked with before that you already just mentally think would be good for that part. So that's part of the challenge with trying to get into the industry is you really have to get around. And when you meet a lot of directors and you meet a lot of actors, you know, and sometimes an actor can become a director for another production. So, you know, you never know who you're standing next to.
Have you ever worked with anyone that's gotten real big? Like went on to...
You know, not real big. You know, I mean, you know, in theater, it's kind of like, you know, there's really just three things. There's first people that make a living at acting. In other words, they actually make enough money to actually say, I'm an actor, and they make money.
Yeah.
That's probably the one first step of success. But then there's people that might get in a movie, you know, or move out to L.A., and then there's the people that move to New York to see if they can make it in there.
Yeah.
But usually nobody makes it to any of them. But but the easy one is the hardest one, I think, in some ways, is the Broadway. But it's also really hard to be a working actor and make a living. So even if you get in a little B movie, you know, or you get somebody's movie, it doesn't really. You might not even get paid. You might get some exposure.
Yeah.
But you're probably not going to make much money. But our actors, though, we pay them. They get paid, usually around $80 or $100 a show.
It's not bad.
For some larger shows, maybe more. And we usually, certainly during the busy months, we might have 4 or 5 shows a week.
That's awesome.
So
I actually wanted to ask you something about your productions. Do you guys just do plays and scripts that are already written, or do you write your own productions, or how do you go about that?
most of the things that we do, we write ourselves. Some of that is because we want the creative freedom, but some of that is also because, if you start using, scripts from writers, you lose a lot of control because they might not want you to change your script. And then you have to have royalties. So, quite frankly, it's easier sometimes to write a new play than it is to find a writer for a play. And that's kind of part of it there. But usually, occasionally we will have a play by a writer that we'll rent, and but usually it's an internal play that one of our people writes.
Okay.
Do you have a lot of people that write, and do you guys all work together on the writing, or is it just one guy will bring a script and be like, "Hey, I wrote this"?
Well, no, it's more formal than that. We've been around for a little bit, and we have a contact with a lot of different actors, and actors usually are pretty transient, so they move around. But some actors are also writers. But for instance, we're doing this Frankenstein show that's this October, and that adaptation was written by one of our actors named Brian Albert, and he's been with us for a long time, since 2002. So he's been writing this for a while, and he always wanted to do it. So he's kind of one of the troops. So we give a preference to the people that are within the organization, clearly, to give them an opportunity, to put together some of their own creative work. But there are times where we do look outside. We want to do something a little different here and there. And some theaters may have different requirements. They might not want that. They might want, Willy Wonka, and they might want something that everybody's seen before.
Yeah.
So if the theater requires it, and more importantly, are willing to pay the royalties for it, then we make that decision too.
Okay. Where are you guys based out of?
We're based out of Burlington, New Jersey, but honestly, we travel all over. We also do quite a bit of stuff at a theater called the Strand in Lakewood, New Jersey. It's a beautiful, beautiful theater.
Okay.
It's a 1,300-seat theater built in the early 20s. And we do quite a few of our large main stage productions there.
Yeah.
Those are different kind of shows. Obviously, they're full set, 50 people in the show, so it's a big, big production.
Yeah. Do you ever go to Red Bank?
Yeah, it's very close to Red Bank. Yeah, I know. Well, I think the Count Basie's over there in that area.
Yeah,
right?
That's a nice little area.
Yeah, I love Red Bank.
Yeah. No, I'm familiar. I've been there once or twice, on a bar run. But I don't remember much, especially when I left that night. But I do remember being there. It looked like it was a nice place.
Yeah, I used to work with the Rat, and we did a lot of gigs up there. It was a lot of fun up there.
Yeah, what's the Rat? Is that a radio station?
Yeah, that's a radio station in Belmar.
Oh, okay.
It's a rock station.
But it's a lot of fun doing this. When I got started in this, I didn't think I'd make it this far. It's not easy to make a living at this.
Do you ever get bored of it, like any other job, or
what's that?
Do you ever get bored of it, like with any other job?
No, you don't really. I think the reason why is because it's a different job.
Yeah.
Every time you're doing a new show.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. It would always be different.
Every show has got its own challenges. You're building a new set. You're maybe writing new songs. You're creating new characters. You're mounting an entirely new production. So you're reborn again several times a year.
Yeah.
You do develop a process, but really it is creatively invigorating to get the opportunity to do that.
That's awesome.
Now, have you always wanted to get into theater, or was this something that you discovered later in life that you really enjoyed?
Well, I was kind of blessed, I guess, a little bit because my dad, he owned a dinner theater in Cape May for a long time until like 2008.
Okay.
Wow. And I grew up there and did a lot of stuff there when I was younger. It's called Elaine's Dinner Theater down in Cape May.
I've heard of that place, yeah.
And they're still around. I haven't really been there in a long time, but when I was a kid and young adult, I spent a lot of time there. That's where I really cut my teeth. But I actually went to the military. I was in the Army for like 4.5 years and doing the airborne thing, and got out of that.
Did they have any theater productions that you maybe participated while you were, in the military? Or?
Yeah, there actually were a few things. I mean, when I was, it's kind of funny. There was a theater I was stationed in Fort Lewis, Washington, and there was a theater outside of the base. I can't remember the name of it, but it was right by the Tacoma Mall, and there was a theater there. That's awesome. And believe it or not, on my spare time, I was able to go out there, and we did a few shows there. I used to enjoy doing shows there.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And even in the military, I think one time we had a show from the people in our battalion. And I was in an infantry airborne unit, so if you're an actor, you were kind of looked at as a little bit of a pansy. But so you didn't really, but usually the other soldiers, I was like one of the few, But I thought it was fun. I got a kick out of it, and the great thing about theater, especially if you're a single guy, is there's not a lot of single guys. There's a lot of hot chicks that can dance and some gay guys. But if you're a single young guy, hey, get into the theater because there's not a lot of straight young
competition.
Guys.
So
what you're saying is you got a lot of vagina back in this.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the truth.
God bless
and not only
America.
that, but you're treated like royalty because you're so rare.
Yeah.
They're
That's
dying.
amazing.
If you come in, and they're just like, oh my God, get this guy a chair and a drink.
So now, being into like theater and stuff, are you kind of like a movie buff at all, or?
It's kind of funny. I tend to not really be. I mean, I used to be, but I really don't. I'm so busy. I don't have a chance to really watch that much TV. I got a 4-year-old, so he keeps me kind of crazy too. So I'll watch a lot of cartoons and stuff. But I do a lot of reading. I find that more peaceful for me. Because my life is so hectic that it's kind of enjoyable just to kind of sit and read.
Yeah.
That's kind of my outlet.
What like type of books do you read? Who's like your favorite author?
Oh, geez, you go through phases of nonfiction and fiction.
Right.
Believe it or not, right now I'm reading the Arabian Nights.
Oh, I've been wanting to read that.
I have that book. I used to work in printing. I used to, and that's one that we printed that I bought. We used to have book sales like every week where like hardcovers were 25 cents and soft covers were 10 cents, and that's one I actually have. I never opened it.
I'm actually reading.
It's actually pretty good. I mean, it's one of those things where you have these lists of classics that you're supposed to read.
Yeah.
And you read, you read other books that reference things. So I make a little list every once in a while when I'm reading a book. If I start seeing a reference, and this was one of them. It's like I would always, occasionally in a book, an author would kind of make an anecdote or a reference to a story in Arabian Nights. So I was like, okay, that's probably one of those that I should know.
I've heard that the Aladdin tale is very, very different than the actual. Most people are used to, like the movie and whatnot.
Huh.
I actually haven't gotten to the Aladdin yet. I got through the Sinbad. If you ever know Sinbad the Sailor,
yeah,
I got through that part.
The sailor.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a mythology buff. I mean, like.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Right now I'm reading the Iliad. So.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's hard to.
I don't think I read that one, but
it's a Trojan War.
I read the Odyssey, dude. That one.
The Odyssey I've read in high school. I'm gonna reread it because I think it was an abridged version, and I think with abridged versions you don't get. You don't get as much out of it as if you were actually reading the real.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a shame because it's the same way. I mean, I'm like 41, and what I read when I was a student, you don't want to be reading a book. You don't want to read Animal Farm when you're 15.
Yeah.
I mean, so you don't appreciate it. But it's kind of funny. Every once in a while, I'll read a book that I know I read. Like I think I recently read. I'm trying to remember the name. It's the writer that wrote. Oh man, I can't remember it offhand. Where the guy turns into a cockroach in his house. Real famous, kind of dark existential writer. Oh well, I can't remember. But I know I read it. The story's called Metamorphosis.
Yeah, Metamorphosis. Yeah.
Yeah. Can't remember that name either. Oh well, but I know I read that when I was in high school. I had to read it. But the second time, I'm like, it just made so much more sense. Every once in a while, I'd remember a line that I remember reading a long time ago.
Yeah. Naked Lunch. Have you ever read
I've
Naked
heard about
Lunch before?
that.
I've seen the movie, but I've never read the book.
What's that?
Naked Lunch.
No, I don't think I've ever run across that one.
It's a tough one because I think the guy was on a lot of drugs when he wrote it. So it's really trippy and hard to follow.
There's an anime called Fooly Cooly that references that.
Yeah.
So that's where I know it from.
I would definitely the movie. I would definitely recommend watching. It's what's his name? Stephen Lynch or no, not Stephen Lynch.
You're close, but
he's a comedian.
No, I think it was David Lynch.
David Lynch, yeah.
Eraserhead.
He's not the guy that wrote the book though, but yeah. But that was a tough one. I couldn't get through that. I read like 4 pages. I was like, no, I can't follow this. What else have we got? Now, where'd you grow up? Did you grow up in like New Jersey?
Yeah. I mean, I actually I moved all around. I kind of grew up in around the Collingswood area for some of it, and then Cape May down the shore, and then. But I also grew up in, I was in Montana for a while.
Wow.
I was in New Hampshire for a while. So I kind of made my rounds.
Yeah.
But mostly New Jersey.
That's cool. What do you have any advice for this shit show? On, like you said, just hang in there, and because we've been at this since December, and we haven't seen a lot of growth on as far as like fans and all that. We got the same base.
Well, you know what? It's hard. It's hard to say. I mean, I think I'm a little bit spiritual in that I kind of do feel like if you have your mind set on a goal and you keep at it and you keep pushing at it, eventually the universe gives it back to you what you want.
That's how I feel.
But, I mean, obviously it's just persistence. And then, but once you have a product, like you guys are doing your podcast over and over again, I mean, the way I found out from you was just on like, an email that I signed up for about different podcasts. But, I mean, the biggest thing I think is once you're running and you have something there, people always say it's about, connecting with your audience and all, but which is true. But the very first thing you need is exposure. People need to know you exist first. So obviously I'm not sure what kind of advertising you guys do or anything, but I mean, do you have a method that you're using to monetize? I mean, that's probably one part. Like, I'm not sure, some podcasts have.
We've tried a couple things. We did the YouTube. We got the business cards we printed up. We did bumper stickers for our old show, and because we changed, we had an old show called RBJ show, but we got rid of the one guy, so.
Your own cousin, dude.
Yeah, Slim's cousin. He's stuck.
I cut my own cousin from the show. He was a little racist, so we didn't.
Man.
We didn't want to get involved in that.
We want to build a fan base. We don't want to piss people off like an entire race.
Well, that's the trick. It's like you wonder. Sometimes you want to be authentic. And you want to reach a certain group, and then another time you're like, well, you don't want to go too far.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know.
We push the limit, but we don't want to. We don't want to be racist.
So, what's your favorite place in New Jersey?
That's a good question.
My favorite place in New Jersey. Like, I have to stay within New Jersey.
Well, no, I guess you can go out of New Jersey. I just figured because you travel a lot and you've probably been everywhere in New Jersey.
Yeah, I've been everywhere in New Jersey, probably. You know what? I mean, I'm trying to think of the best place right now. I think the place that I've always really enjoyed is, you ever been to Smithville?
Oh,
yeah.
Down there,
we're pretty close to
since
that.
I was a toddler, man.
We're in Tuckerton, New Jersey, so we're.
You know, I've always had some kind of affinity for, you know, the Pine Barren area. Like I love driving down, you know, 206, you know, through the Pine Barrens and down there, especially when it's, you know, kind of getting late, not dark yet, but just a little bit getting close to nighttime, and you know there's not a lot of traffic, you know, because if you get one slow guy in front of you, you're pretty much screwed. But on 206, but you know what, I like that that whole feel of the Pine Barrens. But Smithville particularly, it's just, I don't know, I've always liked that place. You know, it's nice. I like the you know, they got Fred Neffels there, the Smithville Inn. It's a nice place to grab the drink. They got a lot of Jersey Devil legends around there. You know, I've always loved the Jersey Devil.
Yeah, Leeds Point's like right
I don't know if you're
there.
into that lore, but you know, the Leeds house is right around there.
Yeah.
We did a show once about that, the Jersey Devil, and we used a lot of that history in the show.
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool, dude.
So are you into like the supernatural and stuff? Like you get into like the ghost stories?
Well, you know, I mean, I certainly believe in stuff like that. I mean, I don't believe in Jersey Devil necessarily, but I definitely believe in the supernatural. Or at the very least, it wouldn't surprise me if there's a lot about the universe that we don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
that's what I always say.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but you know, when I was younger, I was, you know, very analytical and scientific and stuff. I really didn't believe in that stuff. But as I got older, you start to see patterns, and you're like, that just can't be chance. You know?
Yeah.
You know, it's almost getting to be like, you know, it's like, that's just too serendipitous. You know, how could these things keep happening? You know, it seems like there's something going on. And, at least that's what's happened in my life. It definitely seems that there's more going on than what meets the eye.
Have you ever done like a restaurant or anything that had like a haunted background, or?
You know what? I didn't get all that. I think it broke up for a second on me.
Have you ever like done any of your productions in a place that was known to be haunted, or that had like a background of people, you know, thought it was haunted? You
know, I mean, honestly, every old colonial inn always has their own, you know, ghost stories and stuff that they do. So I can't admit that I've ever been anywhere that has an authentic haunting. But the funny thing is our theater company, Riddlesbrood, is actually named after a ghost, named after a haunting, which is kind of funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and we kind of took that and run with it. In the early years, I used to live. When I was much less successful, I got fired from a place basically, and I had to move in with my mom, and I had to live in her attic, and there was something up there.
Wow.
So
yeah, man, there's shit that I've heard that I would never
definitely
believe, but I've actually had since I moved down here that I wouldn't believe it if anyone else told me, but I know what happened to me, so I know what fucking happened.
Batstow Mansion is reported to be haunted. I've heard things going on up there too. When I was I went on my dad used to be a ranger, so he used to work out there.
Okay.
Move closer to the mic.
He took us on a tour when I was only like 4 years old at the time. Me and my sister were terrified. And we went on this tour, like in this Batstow Mansion, and we heard some little girl or something crying, like up in the bell tower. You know that? I don't know if you've ever seen the Batstow Mansion, but there's this like bell tower kind of.
I've been to Batstow. I don't remember the mansion per se, but I've definitely been there.
Well, there's this creepy mansion, and there's like a spire in it, and we were hearing knocking on the walls and stuff like that.
Wow.
So there's definitely something weird. My dad used to see there was a servant bell because it's a colonial mansion, and they'd have this system of bells, you know, where they pull the string to get their, you know, summon their servants, and we would see these bells just ringing. You know, he would see the bells ring, but there'd be no string, like, you know, attached to it. So,
wow.
Weird stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, that is pretty neat. You know, I mean, you know, I that was the only real experience that I had with that was that, you know, presence that I felt up there. But, you know, you never know. I mean, you know, especially in this day with quantum physics, and everybody says, who knows? I tend to think that the human mind can have more power over the world than we think it does.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, you get into the, I don't know if you guys do this, but I got into meditation maybe like 5 years ago, and it really does seem like if you dwell on something long enough, it manifests itself.
They say it's all energy, and really energy can't be destroyed. Even according to science, it cannot be destroyed, just recycled.
I actually have a question. I want to go back to your theater productions. Have you ever dealt with any hecklers doing that? And do you have any good stories with hecklers?
Oh, sure. We got plenty of hecklers. One of my favorite hecklers is I was doing a show at Elaine's one time, and it was the worst show in the world. It was really bad. All the good actors left one season, and it was me and some people that I won't even mention their names so they won't get embarrassed. But it was really bad, and it was around Halloween, and the show was called Funny Bones, and I played a character called Zeke the Zombie. And there was supposed to be this it was kind of like a rip-off off of a little bit of Rocky Horror and a little bit of Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
But there was this time portal, and we used to bring up a person from the audience and bring them up on stage and bring them to this time portal, and it had all these lights on it and all, and they would go through it, and there'd be a blackout, and then we'd throw a skeleton would come out with black light, so it was kind of a cool effect. Well, one time we were doing it, and the audience just hated us. A deep-seated hate that you could feel like laser beams cutting your legs off. So you come out, and this girl that was much too old to be in the sexy costume that she was in, got somebody up out of the audience and brought him up on stage. But the guy that was in the tech booth didn't play the music, that's the special effects music, and didn't change the lights. It just stayed bright. So they bring the guy up. There's no music. All the actors are looking around like, oh boy, this is lame. and she didn't know what to do, so she just walked him through the time door, like what normally we do. And of course, the audience could just see her walking through there. No effects were on, and she just walks through, and the guy's looking around, and she's pointing to walk backstage. He walks backstage, and just 5 uncomfortable seconds go by. You hear people, and finally I just walk out and throw the skeleton on the ground, and just go, oh, and it's just what do you do? And somebody in the audience just yells out, somebody let me go home.
Oh, man.
That was probably one of the worst. That was probably one of the worst. But, that happens every once in a while. Things go wrong, and usually you can wing it, swing with it, improv. But sometimes it goes down.
Oh, man.
All right, Clyde, it was great talking to you. Why don't you
dude.
Give all your plugs, promote whatever you gotta promote, and then we're gonna have to wrap this up, all right, man?
No problem. I would just say, hey, I hope you guys come for the Halloween season to the Strand Theater in beautiful downtown Lakewood, New Jersey, and we have a great show. It's called Frankenstein, and it's playing the last weekend of November. I'm sorry, the last weekend of October, and I think it's the 24th, 25th. It's a great show. It's a lot of fun. There's a dinner theater element to it. You can come, have a great dinner. There's a DJ there. Then you can come and see the big show. It's a great night out. And if you want to take a look at a little bit more about it, take a look at our calendar. And our website is www.riddlesbrood.com, and that's RIDDLESBROOD.
Awesome.
So hope you guys come out and see the show. It's a lot of fun. I'll give you guys 2 free tickets if you come out there.
All right, that'd be
I'm
awesome.
down for that.
You're not that far.
No, dude.
We'll definitely look into it. That sounds like something I would be interested in doing. Once again, it was great talking to you, man. You were a lot of fun. We definitely would have you for another call sometime in the future. That would be great. So,
hey, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
You too, Clyde.
Man.
Take care, man.
See you.
Yeah, I definitely would.
Why when I wipe is there blood?
Why did it go back to that?
Why me get boner when me see a school bus? Me so confused.
Was that playing the whole time?
Me Toronto.
I don't know what just happened. Did we really have a conversation? Or was that playing the whole time? Dude.
Being haunted by Sorrentos.
Why does Sorrentos?
Sorrentos
Want
got
to-
his revenge.
Oh, fuck, dude. Did Clyde's interview just record?
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, no, I have it.
I hope it
No,
was.
it's all recorded on my computer. You're playing that on your computer, so it wouldn't have affected the.
Yeah,
the
but I was
interview
also
at all.
doing the Skype.
Yeah, I'd definitely
No,
be
keep
down for
Yeah.
seeing that show.
That'd be
Dude,
funny
I-
if we
I
have
watched-
40 minutes of just your Sorrentos.
I watched one of his videos, Clyde's, and dude, the shit they must have to haul around looked insane.
The
Like,
I was watching with John earlier the medieval madness thing he did.
Yeah.
I wish I could have seen that.
yeah, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go out. That sounds like
Yeah.
that was cool.
That'd
He
be
was
awesome.
good. He was a lot better than Sorrentos. Poor Sorrentos, just a poor guy.
Poor
that-
Sorrentos, poor us. Poor everybody that listened to that shit.
Here, wait a minute.
He just booked the wrong show. That's all.
Why do my butthole always get so big? How do it fit 5 fingers and more? Why do it ooze out white goo? Why when I wipe is there blood? Why me get boner when me see a school bus? Me so confused. Me Toronto.
Maybe he picked the right show for a change. Maybe every other show was lying to him. Holy fuck. He stunk.
We're going on break.
See ya.